This video will contain major spoilers from mainly chapters 121 to 123 of the Oshi No Ko Manga. Aqua and Ruby learning the truth about each other's past lives as Goro and Sarina was perhaps one of, if not the most anticipated moment in the series. I am sure everyone has wanted to see the reunion between doctor and patient and how they would react to knowing they had each other all along. Even as brother and sister in this new life they were blessed with, they were so close and yet so far away. That gap had only widened after Aqua revealed the truth about them being Ai's children to the world. To say Ruby despised Aqua after that would be an understatement. They were no longer family in her eyes. Ruby didn't care what reason Aqua had, he was just another liar. Yet, it would be the same star that brought Goro and Sarina together that would rekindle the love the siblings shared for each other. That star was none other than Ai. In the 15-year line movie Aqua was making, Ruby had taken up the role of Ai and all the hardships that came with it. In particular, there is a scene where Ai has to accept that her mother never loved her. Ruby was forced to recall the fragile relationship she had with her mother as Sarina, on top of a stressful schedule with little room to decompress. Playing the role of Ai was forcing Ruby to realize that perhaps Marina, her former mother, was also another liar. She never truly loved Sarina. Needless to say, Ruby's mental state was beginning to fall apart, and it reached its breaking point when she realized Marina had moved on by having other children. Ruby realized she wished for Ai to be a substitute as a mother, and even began to believe she only brought misfortune to everyone around her. Why did God bring someone like her back into this world, she questioned. Yet the one who is there to answer Ruby is none other than Aqua. He tries to comfort her sister, telling her to take a deep breath and lie down, but all Ruby cares about is the script. With tears streaming out of her eyes, she wants to know where her script is. Even now, she wants to keep practicing. Aqua still tells Ruby that this isn't the time for that, and he even tries to help her up. However, Ruby doesn't want his help and slaps his hand away. Aqua is left stunned as Ruby reminds us why she wanted to become an idol. The reason that's her ultimate desire and why she'll force herself to climb higher, and is something Aqua knows very well. Ruby wants to find the person who killed Ai and Goro. No matter how long it takes, Ruby will find that person. Her black star and gun widens with bloodlust. She'll find them, and make them regret they were ever born into this world. Aqua tells Ruby to stop that, knowing full well about the dark path of revenge. He will not let her go down that path, and tells her that living for her vengeance will only make her unhappy. There is no need for her to do that. Again, Aqua is surely speaking from experience. He even puts his head down and begs her to just live her life without thinking about revenge. To live a life freely, like Aqua once had the opportunity to do. Yet, Ruby doesn't want Aqua of all people to tell her what to do. It's too late for him to act like a big brother to her after everything that's happened. In fact, Ruby has never thought of them as a real family. They just happen to be born in the same place, but they're still complete strangers. Hearing that, Aqua can do nothing but accept that cold perception. At this rate, Aqua doesn't even intend to consider themselves as siblings who share the same blood. That can mean a lot of things, but take that as you will. Aqua knows he has no right to talk about something like this, but this actually isn't a request from Aqua Hoshino. No, it's a request from Goro to Sarina, with a poster of Ai between them. He knows Ruby didn't want to become an idol solely for revenge. She can finally get out of the hospital room and live freely after all. Aqua believed Sarina wanted to wear cool dresses, sing cute songs, get an encore, and stand on a big stage, making everyone happy like I once did. She became an idol so she could make those dreams come true, right? Aqua questions. You see, he kept crossing his mind over and over. He'd blame himself every time he saw a trace of Sarina inside Ruby. He could never forgive himself for having such a convenient fantasy. For someone who couldn't do anything for Sarina, there shouldn't be any salvation for him. That's what he believed, but he interacted with Ruby as if she were Sarina. And tearfully, Aqua begs Ruby to forget the idea of revenge. However, Ruby seems to be in shock after hearing something. She asks Aqua why he is crying. Then, Ruby asks why he called her Sarina. How did he know what happened at the hospital? The answer has started to become clear to her, and she asks, could it be that he's her sensei? Aqua glances away and then tells her that he's been looking for the Ai keychain Ruby had been holding on to. the one she had taken when she found Goro's body. And as Goro, he asks if Sarina has been keeping the keychain for him. With the writing on the wall, Ruby jumps into Aqua's, no, Goro's warm arms and hugs him and begins to cry tears of joy. As Ruby continues to cry in his arms, she realizes he has always been so close, but wonders why he never told her. Of course, Aqua wasn't sure until now, which makes sense. Still, Ruby tells him she did her best and thought Goro would find her if she used the Bikomachi name for their idol group. Ruby was always looking out for Goro, wondering if he was among the guests at Ruby's fan events. She did her best, thinking Goro might be there watching her, and was worried that he wouldn't find her. Perhaps he had forgotten about Ai and Bikomachi. However, Ruby did learn Goro had gone missing from the hospital, and eventually learned that he had died. Still though, Ruby trusted Aqua, but he did something that she felt betrayed Ai, leading Ruby to believe that there was no longer anyone she could trust in this world anymore. Aqua then puts his hands on Ruby's shoulders and reassures her that he never forgot. The reason Aqua exposed the truth of Ai and why he led the directors into making this movie was all so he can avenge Ai. They shared the same goal. Ruby also feels she did a lot of terrible things and told many lies because she had to get revenge for Ai, and him too. Yet every time she did those things, she could feel her heart begin to throb and her stomach get heavier. Ruby felt like she was heading down a path she didn't want to be on every time she lied. Of course, Aqua knows a dark path like that isn't for someone like Ruby, and pats her on the head, telling her that she isn't Ai. They're different people, and Ruby can just live her own life. Ruby doesn't have to lie anymore. Finally hearing that allows Ruby to release all the thoughts she was holding back, as Aqua holds her in his arms. It was painful for Ruby. She thought she had to lie and smile all the time, like I once did. Being an idol isn't always fun. She even thought it would be better if she could forget about Ai, and sometimes she even sees the face of Ai's killer in the crowd of fans. Ruby has always thought of these horrible things, but she still wants to be loved, which is why she hides everything. Even now, her heart remains the same as it was in the hospital, hating the world. And she asks Aqua if he thinks that's alright. Is he fine with this version of her? Aqua answers by reminding Ruby that he's her biggest fan. He adored the little girl who struggled in pain in the hospital every day, yet kept dreaming with her eyes sparkling. Back then, to Goro, Sarina was even more radiant than Ai. Hearing that seems to finally set Ruby free from the path of darkness. The darkness in her eyes is no more, as her Stargon is now pure white once again. However, we see that they're being watched by a crow, and somehow, that crow lets the mysterious crow girl know exactly what's happening. She says that with Ruby now back on her feet, the movie can be made according to Aqua's plan. In fact, Aqua can take this opportunity, and Ruby might be able to fly high again, boosting her career. Yet doing that would be a bad move, as the crow girl states. We can see a look of disappointment on Aqua's face, and the crow girl is sure he knows that this is a clear failure. In the end, Aqua isn't cut out for revenge, but she can give him some sympathy. From his POV, it'd be easier if Ruby still hated him. Then we see Ruby looking at Aqua through a glass door as she says she believes him. She vows that the girl he was a fan of back then, Sarina, will shine even brighter than Ai. Also, there is something else she hasn't forgotten. Goro had said he'd consider marrying Sarina when she turned 16, and Ruby says to herself that she's already turned 16. From there, we can only speculate that Ruby still wants to be with Goro, who's now Aqua. Although her possible desire is a bit questionable, at least Ruby's in a better place now. Ultimately, Ruby and Aqua learning the truth about each other has shifted the status quo slightly. She now truly loves her brother again, which is basically foreshadowed in her interview back in chapter 2. Meanwhile, Aqua's still committed to revenge, but will now have to consider he can't leave Ruby behind like he once planned to. Perhaps that is what the crow girl meant by saying it would be easier if Ruby still hated Aqua. In any case, I thought it would be a good idea to compile this special moment into a video, and I thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider dropping a like and subscribing if you aren't already. If you want to watch some more Oshi No Ko content, I got some over here. Peace.